Okay, I just want to remind our viewers then of all the news surrounding this Israeli aggression on Gaza. What we're hearing, at last count, it seems that according to Israeli sources themselves, that 51 soldiers have been hospitalized since the beginning of the Israeli land incursion into Gaza. This, of course, pardon me, the resistance fighters had warned about, saying that they would react very harshly if there was any ground incursion into Gaza. This, of course, comes on the heels of the fact that the resistance has been putting up a fight, has been sending rockets into the occupied territories, has been responding through even surveillance drones, unmanned drones that has been flying over the occupied territories again. We've seen pictures, of course, coming out of the Shejaiya neighborhood in the eastern part of Gaza, where we saw bodies strewn on the floor. Very harrowing images, very graphic images coming out of the neighborhood. The story goes that no ambulances were allowed into that neighborhood after Israel attacked it. Again, a tactic that Israel has used in the past as well, to not allow those who are injured and wounded to at least get to a hospital to have a chance at life. And we're, of course, still seeing live images coming out of Gaza. It seems that there has been quite a significant attack or explosion at the horizon. A lot of smoke billowing out, it seems, from that one area. And we will, of course, try to keep an eye out for what exactly happened there. We've, of course, also seen the Israeli forces gathered at the buffer zone between Israel and Gaza itself. We've seen them trying to attend to one of their colleagues who, it seems, had been injured. They seem to, as Akram was saying as well, be, at this point at least, an intelligence gathering unit. They've been arresting people, they've been trying to arrest people, at the very least trying to make them agents for the Israeli forces, and have been essentially an intelligence gathering unit at this time, but that, of course, could change in the coming hours or days. Now, Akram, again, we're seeing this this very significant attack, it seems, on the horizon in Gaza. I wanted to ask, as we're speaking about that, about the Al-Shifa hospital, because it seems to be the main medical services hospital in the region, and it seems to be the most active. How exactly is it making do, and how are the doctors making do with the situation in Gaza as it stands right now?
The doctors are struggling too. They are trying to provide the very needed life-saving aid to the people now. Now they have been warning for the past few days about the possible setback in the health system, because they are struggling. They are targeted also. We should take into consideration that Gaza European hospital in Rafah area was targeted. Beit Hanun hospital was also targeted. Al Wafa hospital was also targeted. It's not only about that the influx of the turnout of a very large number of people to the hospital in need of medical procedures and medical interventions. It's also about the Israeli ongoing targeting for the peoples. You should also know that the Israeli unmanned drones targeted the house of the Director General of Shifa hospital. So the doctors are working to save the lives of people while they are under great pressure, thinking of their families that they might be targeted and they might be killed. Also, the medical crews are also trying to fetch the bodies of people, and there is a story about one guy who was one paramedic who was trying to save the lives of people in Khan Yunis area, and when he was fetching the bodies, he found the body of his son. So this is the situation in Gaza. Everyone is under fire, even the medical crews and the paramedics and the doctors and everyone, and also the hospitals are under fire. So can you imagine this combination, adverse combination of the bad situation and of the pressure and of the psychological anxiety as a result of the ongoing war and the worry about their families. So it's almost impossible to work in, but they are heroically trying to save the life and trying to extend a helping hand to the people.
Okay, Akram, we'll let you go for a bit there so you can rest and catch up on the news as it's developing there. We will no doubt be speaking to you, of course, in the coming hours as well. But that was Akram Al-Satari, Press TV's correspondent, who is speaking to us live from Gaza itself. We're now joined by Hayyan Haider, who is a political analyst, and he was joining us live from Beirut. And we're also joined by Jamal Juma, who is the head of Stop the Wall campaign, who is joining us live from Ramallah. We appreciate both of you joining us. And Mr. Haider, I wanted to start with you, if I may. I wanted to ask you, as we're seeing these images, coming out of Gaza itself, of this destruction and this, civilian casualties, I wanted to get your thoughts at this time, because it seems that the Israeli soldiers, too, are paying a price now, it seems, for coming up against the resistance, at least on the ground.
Yes, good morning. Unfortunately, it's not a good morning at all with the news that's coming in every now and then from Palestine. And I would like, first of all, if you allow me to make a small remark, which is an important remark. We've been going through the Western media, and it's always calling on this war. They call it the Israeli-Gaza war. This is Palestinian war. This is a war on Palestine, and we should always insist that Gaza is part of Palestine, and Hamas are Palestinians, and Jihad are Palestinians, and the people are there are the Arab Palestinians, the real owner of this land, and we don't have to forget this. Now, the situation that is coming up over there, that we've seen the Israelis, they went through this in 2008 over there. Of course, they went before that in 2006 in July in Lebanon, and this is the same scenario is happening now. And when they don't get to their ends by bombings, through the air bombing and sea bombings, they finally come to the land war. And we have to look at maybe the whole panorama around there. I mean, they asked the people of Palestine to evacuate the north of Gaza. I mean, did anybody see the map of Palestine, the map of Gaza? You know, do they know how the people are living there? The masses of people in the building there, they evacuate where to? Where do they go if they evacuate? To the sea? They dump themselves into the sea. So now they're coming in with their tanks and with the war equipment. And of course, we've been hearing since yesterday of heavy casualties within the Israeli army over there. Of course, the heaviest casualties are the Palestinian death there. Just today, we have more than 40 martyrs in Attack Shejaiya in the Gaza Strip of Palestine over there. And of course, the Israeli army is really targeting everything, to start with electricity, water, hospitals, schools of handicapped people even. Children on the beach, we have seen how they've been targeted. I mean, don't tell us these are strategic war targets. You know. And I'm really depressed with first of all, the official Arab world. You know. Second, the so-called free world all around the place. I mean, the voices we've seen around. Of course, I've seen yesterday a very huge demonstration in Yemen, and which shows us that people still, the Arabs are on the ground. They still feel Arab, you know, and feel with the Palestinians. But I'm talking of the official governments, you know, that have no reaction at all. Second, I mean, I'm really, really sad to see France forbidding the French and Palestinian and Arab people to demonstrate in one of the squares of Paris over there for what is happening in Gaza. You know, of course, we've seen some of the demonstration in the rest of Europe and in England and Germany, but I mean, it is really sad to see France over there. And of course, we've seen the foreign minister of France coming to Cairo, so-called see how they can save some lives in Palestine. And suddenly we hear that Egypt bought for 1.35 billion euro 4 warships from France. You know, so this is what is really happening. It's economics and deals behind. upon the bloodshed of the Palestinians.
Okay, Mr. Haidar, I just wanted to add the other guests that we have waiting by in this conversation as well, Mr. Jamal Juma. Mr. Juma, I wanted to ask you as well about your feelings at this time as we're hearing about this, of course, the continuing Israeli aggression on Gaza and the escalation, of course, in that aggression, what's happened in the Shejaiya neighborhood, of course, we all well know, and the pictures that are coming out of there are quite harrowing of the bodies lying on the streets.
Yani, of course, what's happening in Gaza now, especially in Shejaiya, is a genocide against the people. 100,000 until now almost left at Shejaiya. They are sleeping in the streets now. They are bombing the hospitals, they are bombing the mosque, they are bombing the streets. The people are sleeping in the streets now. There is no place where to go. The Palestinians in Gaza don't have the privilege of any other people around the world in such a cases that they can go outside away from the massacre. Here the people is in the prison. It has been jailed from every side. And the people has been just like receiving the bombs from everywhere. In calling Gaza people, and many had been calling also as well, the most important about what's going on, the people is very angry. They are around the resistance, gathering regardless of how much the bloodshed and the massacre is going on in Zannana, in Shejaiya, in many places in Gaza. The people of Gaza, they say this time that we are not a nice victims and will not be nice victims. And Israel is a coward. Its army is a coward. They are bombing the people from outside the fences and the walls of Gaza. They are killing the civilians. They are destroying the homes on the heads of the people in order to punish Gaza, in order to pressure on the people to go against the resistance in Gaza. People saying their words. We are behind the resistance. We want to end the atrocity of the biggest prison in the world that has been since 9 years almost now under siege, under slow genocide, under starvation that's going on. Israel is not just bombing the people and bombing the houses. They're bombing the water resources. They are bombing the electricity. They are bombing the hospitals, the schools, the mosque. Everything in Gaza is under an ongoing genocide. Shame on the world, shame on Obama, shame on the United Nations, shame on the European governments who try to even prevent their people to go against the war in Gaza in the streets. This is the shame in the face of the humanity. What's going on in Gaza is just like going to stop here. If the world didn't stand up, if these people who have a sense of humanity didn't stand up and say, stop killing the people, stop killing the civilians, stop these massacres, stop the genocide, Israel is going to continue. Israel escaped the war in 2008 when they used the phosphoric bombs against the people and burned them in Gaza. They escaped with 2012 and they are doing it again and again. It's enough. There must a voice that say it's enough, and the people of Gaza say enough. Kill us all here. We will not stop until this crime stop once and for all. It's not acceptable that every 2 years we will have another genocide in Gaza.